Hi, welcome to the 2020 edition of our holiday layout beneath the holiday Christmas tree here in the McSherry home. If you're familiar with my hobbies and collections, I do have an extensive collection of toy trains and vintage slide figures, and I do lean towards the pre-war standard gauge size Lionel, Bing, Marklin, and a variety of other different types of trains. And this is our display that we put under the Christmas tree every year. And this year we have a new addition and new setup. So without further ado, let's flip things around here so that you can get to see the display. So here is our Christmas tree for 2020. And down below, you can see that we have our miniature train village set up again this year. In a minute, we'll have the train go around the track as well, but before the train starts to come through, let's take a closer look at what we have going on in the town this year. We have a little bit of a change up in the display. We try to change some things up every year. This year we have a little pond in front of the one station with a bridge, some ducks, even some penguins, snowman out front. A lot of skiers in the town this year, taking advantage of the holidays. There's some owls up on top of this building. The interiors for most of the buildings are lit this year. Have Santa on and a sleigh decoration on top of that one. Here we have a horse and sleigh. We got another building that's back around the side there, along with our destination sign that shows where the trains that are coming in and departing from are heading to. And as we cross the tracks, we come to the main station for the train. And you can see that we've got quite a bit of activity at the train station with trees and icicles hanging off from a recent snowstorm, lit inside as well. We have a repairman working along the side here, hanging up the wreath that you see. Next to it, we do have a new addition this year to the display, and it is a handmade, scratch-built church, standard gauge size. Gentleman that made it did a phenomenal job, and it looks great here in the display. We do have lighting inside of it as well. And then to go along with it, we put outside the church a nativity scene this year. So you can see all the different figures that go with the nativity scene. And then in front of the church, we do have some carolers. And then we do have our Christmas market as well, still taking place here with our refreshment stand and also our newspaper stand. And then you can see we have some newspapers at the newspaper stand, and one of our new figures that we found this year was a Barclay cast of a child coming out of a snow fort that he built. Behind the refreshment stand, you can also see we still have our Christmas tree market, so the town members can pick up their Christmas tree for their family. Santa's coming into town with his reindeer. We have our advertising display post that talks about some skating, and then of course we have several skaters on the pond and spectators. We do have a farmer bringing his wares into town. And as I said, most of the buildings that we have are actually illuminated this year. We've had slowly been adding one or two more, but I think I've got all of them illuminated except for one. And now to see the train itself, we have a Lionel Prewar 390E and tender, and then also two gondolas and a repainted caboose. Let's get this fired up here so you can see it coming around the track. The engine and cars are all vintage pre-war Lionel. The caboose has been repainted, but everything else is in original condition. We have it loaded down with some festive decorations. And of course, standard gauge trains are fairly large, but we do manage to actually keep this contained to a space that's roughly 4 feet by 4 feet. You can kind of see that we have some fencing along the outside here that is supposed to keep the household pets out, but it doesn't always work. As I mentioned, there's a lot of other things taking place in the town this year. We do have a lot of small critters out and about, including a bunch of squirrels inhabiting the top of the refreshment stand. We have several pigeons over at the newspaper stand. We even have a small warren of rabbits hiding back here. Saw the ducks and the penguins on the pond. And down at the refreshment stand, you can see that we have someone sitting at the table there enjoying a frosty beverage. Most of the figures and buildings themselves are also vintage. There are a few modern pieces in here, but the majority of them are pre-war or 1950s, maybe 1960 cast figures and pieces. Hope you enjoyed this year's display. We look forward to sharing a new layout with you again next year, and hope you have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas. One last quick thing. I apologize for missing this earlier, but I do have to give a quick shout out to my father-in-law, Bob Latcher, and of course this figure that's right here at the refreshment stand drinking his beer is in honor of Bob. So hope you're enjoying your Budweiser or Natty Boh and having a good Christmas. And unfortunately we won't be able to be joining you this year due to the pandemic, but we'll see you very soon. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.